Hola bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel, and this is Charles, my angel. Not quite from Charlie's Angels, he's mine. Welcome to episode 5 of season 10. And in this episode, I want to just share a few more of my reflections regarding shadow integration. You probably know a lot of it about it already, but I just want to share a few more reflections that may help you think about it maybe in a different way. You know, shadow, when we talk about what lies in the shadow, is literally that it's not illuminated by our conscious mind. We're not aware of it. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Yeah, that's the thing with the shadow. So, shadow integration means shedding the light of our awareness, of our presence, of our witnessing, and potentially our love to those aspects of us that lie in our shadow, that are rejected by us, by our conscious mind, that we deny, that we don't want to look at, that we think are too troublesome or too difficult or to deal with, or that just do not fit with the conscious identity that we have formed of ourselves. So our conscious mind relays these aspects of us into the shadow. And we're like, doo doo doo, doesn't exist. But in the shadow, these aspects still operate. And shadow integration is essential to us healing and to us becoming whole. So, this notion of wholeness implies the conscious part of us and the unconscious part of us. And Carl Gustav Jung said, the more we can integrate those shadow aspects into our conscious mind or have a relationship with them, so the conscious mind relating with the unconscious and vice versa in dialogue, the more whole we become, the more powerful we become, and the more responsible we will become. Because if we reject our shadow parts, those shadow parts still operate. But imagine like being on a stage where, there's like a puppet, and the puppet master are those shadow aspects, and we're not even aware that those shadow aspects are driving us, because our shadow is very powerful. And I want to also say that the shadow is not just evil and dark. Dark just means outside of the light of our awareness. A lot of our power lies in our shadow aspects. I'll give you a concrete example. In my case, I used to operate from the damsel in distress operating system. It's a distorted version of the feminine. And I rejected my own self agency, my own self authority, my own trust in myself into the shadow. I basically was in the role of the powerless or the victim. By me reclaiming that shadow is what gave me the drive again, is what gave me confidence again. And when I say by reclaiming that shadow, I had to take a psychological journey and go get in touch with, in my case, it was little version of me, which I had abandoned a long time ago. And that was haunting me from the shadows. And, things only haunt us when we don't face them. Once I faced coming face to face with a little version of me who was angry at me, who was disappointed, who was hurt by me having self abandoned, basically, by having rejected that part of me. It was only after going down into the depths and asking little Mel for forgiveness that I could reclaim that part and that I could integrate that aspect of me again. And it's almost like, imagine like going around limping because a piece of you is missing. So all of a sudden I was like, oh, I reclaimed a part of my psychic energy, because those psychological aspects of us carry tremendous energy. That's why when you heal, you also reclaim, you raise your vibration because you've integrated that missing part, energetic part of you. In any case, integrating my own power was essential in, let's say, growing up, maturing. And if you take it on a societal level, us human beings, we are asked to mature, to come out of this victim mode, the disempowered mode that we've been stuck in so long. And I'm not judging. I'm telling you from my own experience that I was in that mode also. I was scared of my own power. So coming face to face with this shadow aspect, it actually, because I rejected it for so long, it materialized in the 3D. So I manifested somebody who was the exact manifestation of my rejected shadow. And that's what Carl Jung also warns us. If we do not become conscious of our shadow, the shadow will eventually manifest outside. That's why all the terrible manifestations of war, of atrocities, they are a mass expression of our rejected personal shadow. It's a collective shadow playing out. And it becomes very dangerous because it's explosive and uncontrollable. So our mission or responsibility as individuals is to look at our shadow. And it's not a comfortable process because the ego doesn't like to, for example, in my case, another example I can give you, I used to get triggered by a certain behavior of my family member and I was judging that family member as ridiculous or boisterous or outrageous. What we reject in another person, what we judge in another person is usually what we cannot accept about ourselves. So I rejected that very part that I was so triggered by and that I pushed away and judged because I couldn't accept that I could also be like that. Yeah. So the Jungian self is not just the conscious mind, is not just the ego performance, is not just the socially normalized self that we present to other people. We have a lot of instinctual drives. We have the capacity for evil. We hold a large capacity for darkness. And that is not something to judge. If we were to take away this whole judging mechanism, it would do ourselves a big favor. But again, the conscious mind, the ego mind finds it difficult to deal with that. But let's just I always refer back to that yin and yang symbol, no? There's the black fish and the white fish. The black fish has the white dot, the white fish has the black dot. Or let's take anything in nature, night and day. You cannot just have the one without the other. You cannot just force yourself into lightness without accepting your own darkness. It is more responsible to accept, yeah, I have shadow aspects, I have instinctual drives, can be aggressive, jealous, all the plethora of so-called darkness or unacceptable behavior. If we accept that we're capable of that without relaying that into the shadow and ignoring it, then we're more tolerant, and we're more able to discern via our higher self, our center self, whether we will act out that behavior or not. But if we reject it and that drive is still there, it will come out of nowhere. It will kind of bite us in the ass from the shadows. And it will self-sabotage us. It will manipulate our own behavior regardless of our conscious mind or conscious will. Yeah. For example, if you deep down don't love yourself and you're not even aware of that, you might manifest love, but you will self-sabotage the situation because your unconscious belief is that you're not worthy of that love. And you might think, how the hell did I mess up this situation? Excuse me. You might rationally try and understand your behavior, but it doesn't make rational sense because your drive, your unconscious, is operating from the shadows. And our unconscious drives are so powerful, they will override, I'm repeating myself here, but it has to be said, will override our conscious behavior. They will trip us up. So if you become conscious, if you say, okay, why did this happen? Why was I so triggered? And take that golden thread of your trigger and look deeper, you will find a core belief in your unconscious that is the driving force of your behavior. Unworthiness, thinking that you're not enough. All kinds of beliefs that are in our core programming have to be looked at. Because if we're not aware of them, if we're not conscious of them, they will sabotage our behavior. They will always manifest what we believe because our beliefs are stronger than our rational thoughts. Okay? So getting to know our unconscious mind, getting to know our shadows, witnessing them, holding space for them, shedding the light of our awareness onto them is crucial in this integration process. Becoming more balanced. I spoke about balance also. No, it's Libra season. You cannot, I think Jung also said, you cannot imagine figures of light. It's better to shed the light of your awareness into the dark. That is what integration is about, shadow integration. Okay, so let me know if you have questions in the comments box or what your experience is with your own shadow. And yeah, embrace the process. It's not for the faint of heart. You need courage to face your own shadow, and patience and humility, and a constant self-reflection and interrogation. For me, I'm at the point where I find it so curious and interesting that I want to get to know myself in my totality. So if you're of the curious type, the investigator type, this is something for you. But if everyone can do this, do his, her, their part in reclaiming their own personal shadow, the collective mass shadow will decrease. Okay? Let me know your comments. I look forward to them. Charles and I have got your back as usual. Thank you for being here with me on this self-discovery process, Mel's Magic Official Journey. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Remember, I have a Patreon tribe. There's a whole bunch of people who resonate with each other. We're called Magic Mel and the Love Rebels. Join us on there and see you for the next episode coming up right after this one. Ciao.